Deep in a peaceful coastal town by the sea, there lived a woman named Amara. She wasn't young anymore, but her heart still danced like the ocean waves she loved so much. Her hair had turned silver, like the moonlight reflecting on water, and her hands showed the marks of time, yet her eyes sparkled with playfulness and wisdom. People in the town often said, "When Amara smiles, even the clouds seem to move away." Amara had faced more storms than most could count, yet her spirit was unshaken. She believed that every wave, no matter how fierce, had its own rhythm and lesson. Her little wooden cottage stood by the cliff, overlooking the endless sea. Around it bloomed bright marigolds and rosemary bushes, swaying in the salty breeze. It wasn't grand, but it was full of life, a place where peace and purpose met. Her neighbors loved visiting her, not just for her herbal tea or her laughter, but because every visit left them lighter. The cottage itself carried history. It had been built by her husband, Elias, a fisherman lost to the sea many years ago. But instead of drowning in grief, Arama turned her sorrow into gratitude. "He gave me this home," she'd say softly, "and the sea still sings his song." Life isn't about avoiding storms, she would laugh. It's about learning how to dance in the rain. Every dawn, before the first gulls cried above the water, Amara would wake, brew her tea, and sit by the window, watching the horizon glow gold and pink. She whispered, "Another sunrise, another chance to begin again." She found wonder in the smallest things: a seashell carried by the tide, the laughter of children playing near the shore, or the way sunlight turned the waves into silver. Joy, she'd tell anyone who asked, isn't something you wait for, it's something you notice. One morning, after a fierce storm, her garden was nearly destroyed. The marigolds were bent, the herbs washed away, and the fence half broken. Her neighbors pitied her. They said, "Everything's ruined." But Amara simply smiled. The storm cleanses what's weak, so that the strong can grow. With quiet patience, she began repairing her garden, whispering encouragement to each plant she touched. Days later, her garden bloomed brighter than ever. When people asked her secret, Arama would answer, "Patience, kindness, and a little bit of faith. The sun always returns, but you must be willing to wait for it." Her wisdom spread through the town like sunlight after rain. One chilly evening, a young artist knocked on her door. He'd moved to the seaside hoping for inspiration, but after months of struggle, he was ready to give up. "I've failed. Nothing I paint feels alive anymore." Amara listened, her eyes glowing in the firelight. She handed him tea and said, "You don't create art to be perfect, my dear. You create to feel alive." She pointed to the ocean outside her window. "Look at the sea. It's never still, never flawless, yet always beautiful. That's life. That's art. You must learn to love the waves, not just the calm." The artist left her home with new hope. He painted again, this time not chasing perfection, but expressing truth. Years later, his work brought joy to thousands. Each time he painted the sea, he signed it with one word: Amara. As time passed, Amara grew older and frailer. The townsfolk visited her often, bringing her meals, laughter, and stories. They said that just being near her felt like sunlight after rain. She taught them one final truth: happiness isn't found, it's built, little by little, in every choice we make. One evening, A boy from the village came to see her. He was about 10, worried and restless. "Miss Amara," he said, "why does it feel so hard to be happy? I try, but there's always something wrong." Amara smiled gently and patted the space beside her. "Come sit, little one. Let me tell you something the sea once told me." The boy leaned close. "The sea," she said, "teaches us that peace isn't the absence of waves. It's learning to float even when they come. Happiness isn't about controlling everything around you. It's about finding balance within." She pointed to a small seashell on her table. "See this? It's chipped, imperfect, but it still sings when you hold it close. We're like that too." The boy thought for a moment and said, "So it's okay not to be perfect?" Amara chuckled softly. "Perfect is boring, my dear. The cracks let the light in. Be kind to yourself, and life will begin to smile back." The boy left her house that night with a lighter heart. He realized happiness wasn't something far away. It was a way of seeing the world. As the years went by, Amara became a legend in the seaside town. Even as her body weakened, her spirit glowed brighter than ever. In her final days, she told her friends, "Don't weep for me. Just promise me you'll keep noticing the small joys, the laughter, the sunrise, the sound of the waves. That's where life truly lives." When Amara passed away peacefully at 96, the town gathered not to mourn but to celebrate her life, a life that had taught them resilience, gratitude, and love. Her garden by the sea became a place where people came to breathe, reflect, and heal. The waves carried her name, whispering her lessons to anyone who listened. Happiness isn't a place you reach, it's the way you travel there. Generations later, children still grew up hearing her story. Artists, sailors, and dreamers often said they could feel her presence in the sea breeze, gentle, steady, and full of hope. Amara was gone, but her light remained, reminding all who remembered her that no matter how rough the storm, joy is always waiting just beneath the surface. Every smile, every act of kindness, every sunrise was her legacy. The sea still sang her name, and through its endless song, she taught the world a simple truth. Life is not about waiting for peace, but about creating it within yourself. Vocabulary from the story: resilience, the ability to recover from difficulty. Example: Amara's resilience inspired the whole town. Faith, strong trust or belief in something. She tended her garden with faith that it would bloom again. Harmony, a peaceful balance between different parts. Example: Arama lived in harmony with the sea and the storms. Serenity, calmness and peace of mind. Example: her cottage was filled with serenity, like the quiet after the waves. Legacy, the wisdom, kindness, or impact one leaves behind. Example: the townspeople said Arama's legacy was her belief that happiness is a choice.